Imagine choosing the first animal that would live beside humans. You could choose an animal that provides meat, an animal that produces milk, or one strong enough to carry heavy loads. Instead, our ancestors formed their first lasting partnership with another predator. A wolf competed for the same prey. It could steal food, it could attack children, and inviting one near the camp should have been a terrible survival decision. So why did early humans choose dogs before any other animal? Today, a dog asleep beside your bed feels completely normal. It waits by the door, it reads your mood. It may even recognize the sound of a snack bag from 3 rooms away. Now, remove the house. Remove the door. Remove the streetlights, fences, veterinarians, and bags of dog food. Place that same relationship beside an Ice Age camp. The fire is small. The darkness extends in every direction. Fresh meat hangs close to sleeping children. Hyenas, big cats, bears, and rival humans may be somewhere beyond the light. The group has no wall. It has no alarm. And it cannot keep a guard awake every hour of every night. Then a wolf appears at the edge of camp. It can smell the meat. It can hear the children. It is watching the humans just as carefully as they are watching it. Every sensible instinct says to drive it away. Yet at some point, in some place, that distance became smaller. The wolf that should have been an enemy became the ancestor of the first domesticated animal. And that happened before sheep pens, cattle herds, horse riders, or farm fields. The first animal partnership was not built around milk, wool, or transportation. It was built between two hunters with sharp eyes on the same piece of meat. The exact beginning is still hidden. Genes can tell us that dogs came from an ancient wolf population that no longer exists. They cannot show us the first wolf that stopped running. Bones can reveal dogs living with people near the end of the Ice Age. They cannot record the first cautious hand extended toward a pup. Even the date is difficult. The wolf and dog lineages may have begun separating tens of thousands of years ago, but a genetic split is not the same as a wolf sleeping beside a human fire. Some very old skulls once described as early dogs are still debated. Early in the process, a slightly friendlier wolf may have looked almost exactly like every other wolf. That makes the newest evidence especially important. Genomes recovered from ancient canids in what is now Turkey and Britain indicate that recognizable dog lineages were already spread across Western Eurasia by at least 14,300 years ago. One of those remains is even older, so by the time farming began, the human-dog relationship was not a new experiment. It was already ancient, and there is evidence that it had become more than a business arrangement. At Bonn-Oberkassel in Germany, archaeologists found a young dog buried with 2 humans more than 14,000 years ago. The animal had suffered through serious illness. Researchers argue that surviving as long as it did probably required human care. Someone may have kept it warm, someone may have brought it water and food. For part of that time, the sick animal could not have been a useful hunter or guard. People still spent energy keeping it alive. That is not proof of how domestication began. It is proof that, by then, at least some humans were treating dogs as more than equipment with fur. But why begin with a predator at all? Why not choose a deer, a wild sheep, or a horse? From a modern distance, an herbivore looks like the safe option. Up close, the menu was less convenient. A wild horse can bite and kick. An aurochs was a huge wild ancestor of cattle with horns and a bad reason to trust humans. A wild boar was basically a compact argument covered in muscle, and a frightened deer does not wait politely while someone invents a fence. More importantly, livestock only becomes useful after humans can control it. The animals must be contained. They need access to food and water. Their breeding must be managed across generations. Their young must survive close to people. That is far easier when humans stay near settlements and can defend a herd. Ice Age hunter-gatherers were often moving through large territories. They followed seasonal plants, migrating prey, fresh water, and changing weather. A pen full of nervous herbivores would not fit easily into that life. A wolf could. Wolves were already mobile. They could travel long distances. They ate many of the same animals humans hunted. They lived in social groups. They raised dependent young. They defended territory. And they survived through cooperation. Humans did not need to invent a social animal from scratch. They encountered one that already understood teamwork. Before dogs, the human camp had several weaknesses. The most obvious arrived every night. Human eyes perform poorly in darkness. Human noses miss information that a canid detects easily. A wolf could hear movement beyond the fire before a sleeping person knew anything was there. The first benefit may not have been fighting predators. It may simply have been warning humans early enough to stand up, grab weapons, and add wood to the flames. An alarm with teeth was useful even if the teeth never touched an intruder. Daylight created different problems. A hunter could wound an animal and lose it in brush or snow. The blood trail might be too faint for human eyes. The animal could escape far enough to die unseen. That meant lost food and wasted risk. A canid nose could follow information left on the ground. Modern and historical dogs are excellent trackers, so it is reasonable to suspect that early dogs eventually helped with this work. But archaeology cannot show us the first successful tracking trip. We should treat the idea as plausible, not proven for the very first partnership. Hunting itself offered another possible advantage. Humans could plan, carry weapons, and attack from a distance. Wolves could locate prey, pursue it, and respond quickly to movement. Put those abilities together, and each species could cover a weakness in the other. That does not mean every dog automatically increased every hunt. A hungry animal could ruin an ambush, chase the wrong target, or decide that teamwork ended when dinner appeared. Useful cooperation had to be learned. Reliable animals had to be favored, and humans had to share enough of the result to make staying worthwhile. There were smaller benefits too. Canids could consume discarded tissue around camp. That may have reduced some edible waste and attracted fewer scavengers. It was not a perfect cleaning service. Adding wolves to camp also added bites, parasites, noise, and a completely new category of poop near the sleeping area. The arrangement survived because the benefits could outweigh those costs. If you enjoy mysteries where one ordinary habit opens a door into human evolution, like this video, share it, and subscribe to Vic Explains. Because the largest unanswered question is still waiting at the edge of that camp. Who moved closer first? One explanation begins with humans. Perhaps hunters killed adult wolves and occasionally brought young pups back alive. Humans are unusually willing to care for the young of other species. A wolf pup raised early enough around people could become strongly socialized. Children may have played with it. Adults may have fed it. The calmest animals could remain near camp as they grew. If several human groups repeated that behavior, generation after generation, they could gradually favor wolves that tolerated human contact. This adoption idea explains how a deep bond might form quickly. But it has a serious problem. A cute wolf pup becomes a powerful adult wolf. Raising one tame individual does not automatically create a population of domestic dogs. The animal must reproduce. Its offspring must also remain manageable. And humans must keep making the same risky investment for many generations. The second explanation begins with wolves. Human camps produced bones, skin, organs, and scraps. For a starving wolf, that was an opportunity. The boldest wolves might approach after people moved away. The least fearful might feed while humans were still nearby. Aggressive wolves would be chased off or killed. Extremely timid wolves would never reach the food. That left a narrow behavioral middle, bold enough to approach, calm enough not to attack. The camp itself could become a filter. No human needed a master plan. Each generation of wolves living near people would reward slightly more tolerance. Each generation of humans would become more accustomed to the animals that caused the least trouble. Over time, distance could turn into tolerance could turn into cooperation, and cooperation could turn into dependence. This is often called the commensal pathway. It is attractive because the wolves begin the approach themselves. But it also has a problem. Mobile hunter-gatherer camps were not permanent cities producing mountains of garbage. Food could be scarce. Humans might not tolerate competitors near valuable meat, and a wolf willing to scavenge is not automatically a wolf willing to follow instructions. The real beginning may have combined both routes. Some wolves approached camps. Some humans tolerated them. Some pups may have been adopted. Useful adults may have received food. Dangerous animals may have been removed. There may never have been one first person who decided to domesticate a wolf. The relationship could have emerged from thousands of small decisions made by both species. Wolves had one advantage no other animal matched so completely. Their social world already resembled ours. A wolf pack is not identical to a human family, but both depend on recognizing individuals, reading intentions, coordinating movement, sharing space, protecting young, and responding to social rules. Wolves watch bodies closely. They notice direction, posture, hesitation, confidence, and attention. Humans do the same. That created a bridge before either species understood the other perfectly. Dogs later became exceptionally good at using human gestures and attention. Experiments show that even young dog puppies can respond to human social cues in ways wolf puppies usually do not, unless wolves receive intensive human socialization. Domestication did not create social intelligence from nothing. It reshaped an intelligence wolves already used with one another. The key was compatibility. A deer usually interprets an approaching human as a predator. A wolf had the social equipment to eventually interpret a familiar human as a partner. That difference is enormous. It also explains what dogs could provide before farming existed. They did not need to produce one physical product. Their value was information. A scent trail humans could not detect. A warning sound in darkness. A reaction to a distant stranger. Pressure on prey during a hunt. A second set of senses moving beside the group. These benefits traveled with people. They did not require a barn, a pasture, or stored grain. Later dogs could haul loads, pull sleds, guard herds, and perform specialized jobs. Those roles should not be projected automatically onto the first dogs. The earliest advantage may have been much simpler. Humans noticed more of the world when a canid was beside them. The relationship also changed the wolves. Animals that stayed near people gained access to a new food source and a powerful ally. They may have faced fewer attacks from other predators. Their young could grow inside a protected social space. But the price was selection. Wolves that could not tolerate humans disappeared from that shared space. Those that could read us, remain calmer, and reproduce near us passed on more of themselves. Humans were changing wolf behavior, even when no one understood breeding. Wolves were also changing human behavior. People had to share food. They had to protect pups. They had to communicate across a species boundary. They had to decide that an animal near the fire belonged inside the social circle rather than outside it. That may be the most important service dogs provided. They expanded the meaning of us. By the time a sick young dog was cared for and buried beside humans at Bonn-Oberkassel, practical cooperation had become something emotionally deeper. The dog was not only useful when it worked, it mattered when it could do nothing. Now return to the original choice. Meat animal, milk animal, transport animal, or wolf. Early humans probably never stood before that menu. They did not reject a cow and select a dog. The animals that later supplied milk and labor required a different human world, one with greater control over land, movement, feeding, and reproduction. The wolf was available in the world humans already inhabited. It followed prey as humans did. It survived through a group as humans did. It communicated through movement as humans did. And it could become useful without either species settling down. That is why the danger was not a contradiction. The traits that made wolves dangerous, their intelligence, senses, mobility, social cooperation, and hunting ability, were the same traits that made partnership valuable. Humans did not choose the safest animal first. They formed a relationship with the animal most capable of joining their existing life. And wolves may have chosen that life too. So was the first dog a human invention, or the descendant of wolves bold enough to recruit us? Did practical cooperation create emotional loyalty, or did an early emotional bond make deeper cooperation possible? And if another animal had understood us as well as wolves did, would humans have ended up with a completely different best friend?